Hey, I'm Robin Reese and welcome to this App Advice Daily Special. Today we're taking a look at data throttling by AT&T, a policy where the top 5% of data users may experience slower internet speeds. But what does that really mean? And should you guys care if you are being throttled? Let's check out how this may affect you. Here's our hands-on investigative report.
I have here today's two iPhone 4Ss. They're both running iOS 5.0.1, so both the hardware and the software are identical. You can see that I've got no apps running in the multitasking bar, and they're both connected to the 3G network. There is one difference between these devices though. One of these devices received a text message from AT&T informing us that our data speeds might be limited because of excessive usage. This is what we're going to call the throttle device. So now we're going to test the throttle device against the non-throttle device to see how big of a difference, if any, this makes. We're going to use speedtest.net's app to check the download and upload speeds on each device. So I'll go ahead and say begin test now, and you'll see that I'm connected to the same host on both phones. They're both connected to the Dream host, and it's starting to test the download speeds right now. So you'll see here the throttle device is getting 0.12 only, while the non-throttle device is well over 1 megabit per second. So now we're testing the upload speeds, and it looks like the upload speeds are a little bit closer together, so the uploads seem to be better. We've run this test hundreds of times, and we have noticed that the upload speed doesn't seem to be affected. So let's go ahead and run the test again just to make sure that nothing funny is happening. So again, we're connected to the same host on both phones, and on the throttle device this time we have 0.06 only, while we're over 2 megabits per second on the non-throttle device. So you'll see here a very huge difference between the two devices. The upload again on the non-throttle device we're over 1, the non-throttle device we're at 0.4. Like I said, in all of our tests, we've seen the upload remain pretty similar between the non-throttle and throttle device, but the download has been a big difference. So now, just to make sure that's not the devices being funny or anything like that, we're going to go ahead and change the SIM cards, which is the account, on both phones. So now the throttle device will become the non-throttle device, and vice versa. So we're going to check here to make sure that it's actually the throttling that is slowing down these phones and nothing else on the device or anything like that. So we've got the SIMs changed, and we've changed the papers to show which one is throttled and non-throttled. We're going to give it a second for the phones to connect to the networks again now that we've put the new SIMs in, and we'll go ahead and redo the tests. So now let's do the test again, and you'll see here that once again we're connected to the same host. The pings are pretty similar, and let's see. So now what was once the throttle device, the non-throttle device, now is much faster. It's running at over 1.5 megabits per second, while the other phone, which is now throttled, is only at 0.12. And the upload this time is 0.8 or 0.9 for the non-throttle device to only wow, we got no upload on that one, which is pretty weird. I've never seen that before. We'll run the test again, and running it again shows that, again, similar ping times, and the non-throttle device now is at over 2 megabits per second, while the throttle device is only at 0.3 megabits per second. So let's see the upload speed. The upload speed here is showing 0.7 for the 0.8 for the non-throttle device and 0.8 for the throttle device. So again, the upload speeds aren't as consistent. We don't think that there's anything happening on the upload, but you'll see here the download is a big difference. You'll see here that on the devices, you can see that while they were throttled, they were getting very slow speeds, and then on the same device, you'll see that they just reversed once we changed SIMs. So it is very consistent. We've run this test hundreds of times in different locations and with different cell phone strength, and we've seen the same results every time, which is a staggering difference in the download speed on throttled devices. So now, what does that really mean in the real world? So to test this and to show you how it really affects you on a day-to-day basis if you're being throttled, we're going to first launch the Maps app. So I've launched the Maps app here, and I'm going to go ahead and put in a zip code for Cupertino, California. So the zip code for Cupertino is 95015. So I'll type that into both devices. I won't search yet until I type it in on both devices to make sure that they both have an equal chance of finding it. So now that I have the zip code typed in correctly on both devices, I'll go ahead and say search. So you'll see here the non-throttle device has already found it. And the non-throttle device, the map is already fully loaded. We can start moving around on the map and actually playing with the map. The throttle device is still trying to load the map data. So here on the non-throttled, we're playing around, we're seeing Cupertino, but the non-throttled, here we go, we're finally getting some action on it. Still not fully loaded, and now it's loaded. So you can see that when you pan around though, it takes a long time for the map data to come. But on the non-throttle device, it just is instant. So that's a maps example, something that more people are interested in. Let's take a look at Safari. Just to be sure that there's no foul play going on, we're going to go ahead and clear all of our cookies and our cache in Safari. So we'll do that now. I'm clearing the history, clearing my cookies and cache, clear history, clear cookies. And now let's go to Safari. For Safari, the test we'll use nytimes.com, a very popular site, of course, the New York Times, so we can check if it's, to check the download speeds. So here I go, I'm going to type in nytimes.com, and I'm not going to click search just yet, so I can type it in the other device to make sure that they both, again, have the same chance. So the non-throttle device is on the left, and here we go, we're going to go ahead and go do a search. So nytimes.com is loading on both devices. And you'll see here that the non-throttle device is already showing the web page, and it's actually fully loaded, and we can start reading or doing whatever we want. The non-throttle device still has not shown anything of the web page yet. So here we are panning around, playing around, loading another article on the non-throttle device, and we're still waiting on the throttle device. So you can see here that internet speeds is greatly impacted. Trying to browse the web becomes very, very hard on the throttle device. Still, we're not, okay, so now we're finally seeing some signs of loading on the throttle device rather, but still it's not fully loaded. So we're going to wait for that a little bit longer. And again, still not loaded. Here we're reading several articles on the non-throttle device. We've loaded several articles in the time that it's still taking to load just the home page on the throttle device, and it's still not even fully loaded yet. We're still waiting for that. Yeah, this is really, really slow on the throttle device. So this is our investigative look to find out how bad AT&T throttling is, if it's something that we should be concerned with or not. It definitely appears that, of course, not only is a throttle device slow, it becomes so slow that it becomes almost unusable. So so we showed you the speed test and we showed you real world examples. Finally, the throttle device has loaded the homepage of nytimes.com, over a full minute after the non-throttle device. So again, data throttling is very real, and it's something that we should all be aware of, that it makes a device very, very slow.
As you guys can see, being throttled really does affect the way you interact with your phone. Want to know how much data you're using? Just dial *data# from your mobile phone. That's *3282# and then call to receive a text on your data usage. Alright guys and gals, that's it for today, but make sure to catch the next App Advice Daily where I'm going to talk about how Siri thinks it's okay to have a mistress. As always, thanks for watching. I'm Robin Reese and I will sync with you next time.